And so as we look forward to 2021, Jim, we wonder what reasonable expectations should be for the now 39-year-old Roger Federer when he comes back.
Well, the last time he had this big of a layoff, he came back roaring. He won the Australian Open in 2017, had a great year. I don't expect necessarily that to happen again. I think we do have to realize he's 39 years old, and he's now had a couple of knee surgeries this year. Hopefully they're just minor. Hopefully his movement is going to be there. I do expect his tennis to be there. It's just the movement. That's the real question. I don't think he'll have any problem with rust. I think he'll get his matches in either at the ATP Cup or some other events around Australia to get himself ready. But I don't know that he's necessarily going to be ready right out of the block to win the Australian Open. We'll see.
We heard Paul Annacone chatting with Severin Luthi a couple days ago on coaching in the bigs. And Martinez, he said he's not really worried about Roger getting his rhythm back or hitting tennis balls. He says he's hit enough tennis balls after all these years. He's worried more about Roger feeling healthy and fit. Was that your approach kind of later in your career when you would come back from a break?
Well, I think you still want to have the reps. You still need to have the movement and the feel and the timing, because Roger is a very timing player, yes? And he's got such a huge variety of shots that it takes a long time to go through that repertoire to feel comfortable. It's a lot easier, I think, for a baseliner that has less shots, less choices to come back from such a long layoff. And of course, I mean, he'll be 40 next year. So everything takes longer when you get older. The recovery takes longer, the muscle buildup takes longer, and everything else slows down a little bit. So I just hope that he'll be, I think he'll feel great, but I don't know if the end result can be as great because Father Time, he's very unforgiving. I hope that Roger can come back roaring again, but now he's, 3 years older than he was when that happened last time. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, though.
The only time he had a break like this before, he came back and won 3 of the next 4 majors he entered. Of course, he was a sprightly and spry 35-year-old at the time. I think it's hard to speculate, in part because Federer hasn't given us much since that Australian Open semifinal run. He's had a bit of surgery. We've seen a lot of him having fun. We've seen him with kids. We've seen some charity efforts, but there not a lot of data points and not a lot of a status report. I mean, 39 is a big number in any sport for a professional athlete. And at the same time, I think at some level, what we use as indications in the past really aren't relevant anymore. I mean, I think a combination of what we know about sports science and technology, I think those are all tools that are going to use by Federer to his advantage. And again, this is someone who's always been very meticulous about his body, about his schedule. We just don't know. This is uncharted terrain, and we wish him well. We hope we see him in Australia.
And if you want to see how he's passing the time during this U.S. Open, check out his social media, some cool yacht photos on Roger.